What's up, buddy?
Hey, Robert, I just made you a co-host.
Yeah, I just. Wow, there you go.
Everyone, we're going to get started here in just a second. Let me type in a chat here. I'll be able to promote everybody, so hang on to your seats. Hey, Robert, go ahead and let's check your mic out.
Can you hear me?
Oh, all right, do that again.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yep.
All right.
How you doing, man? So
What's that?
you managing to hang on to your money, or which way is the money going?
I mean, right when I got here, though, I went big. So I put, $500 on the table my first bet.
All right.
So I got down 1,000 early, but I'm down 700 right now. It's not bad.
Okay. Well, it's Christmas. I guess Vegas needs a Christmas present too, you know.
Oh, no, it'll be fine. It's just that first. Well, I sat at one table. I played a blackjack at the win. 3 out of the first 4 hands, dealer had blackjack, and I was like, so I'm gonna leave this table.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and get this going on Facebook Live, and I'll get back and promote everyone, and we can get started.
Sure.
It's just going to take just a second here. Let's see. Okay. One more. Let's see. Page. Okay, so that's going. Let's get back here. Okay. Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and start promoting us, and hang on to your seats. Looks like we got some guests. Alfredo, good to see you. Tony, good call today. Betty, good to see you. Catherine, Kevin, Michael, good to see you guys. So I'm going to try to do a bunch at a time here. Lou, good to see you, buddy. Nancy, Michael McGran, Mike Ussery. Chris, good to see you. Hey, Tom Wall, this is going to be a good one for you to be on. So I'm glad you're here. Susan Murray, good to see you. Okay, I think we're caught up at the moment. We'll likely have some more. Robert, usually it takes a few minutes. And while we're waiting, I want to officially recognize Chris Latham. Chris, how you doing? You're muted.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
It'd be a good. This is a good one for you to be on, because is it okay if I go ahead and share the news?
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I just want to make a formal announcement. Chris is officially retiring. So he's one of the few, the proud and the brave, who actually do well enough to be able to retire from this crazy business we're in. So if you guys want to give him a hand, a pat on the back, or if you want to ask him how the heck did he do it, that might be a good question. So especially since he's smiling.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Hi, Robert. Hey, it's been a while.
How's it going? Yeah, it has been a while.
Good.
Yep. So any case, I just want to say thanks, Chris, for being the guy that you are and giving so much help. I mean, over the years, you're initially an investor agent student, then you obviously you took the program with Robert, the commercial reach, and then came onto the team. And just have always, been supportive and been there and answered the call for help. Started an investor group out there, willing to talk to other agents, bringing in other agents, just participating in every possible way. And I'm happy to know you as a friend, and I'm glad to play some small part in you and your family's business and leading to retirement. So I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and it's mutual. Your generosity is tremendous, and I appreciate everything from the group and all the training, and it was just great.
Yeah. Well, you're an inspiration. There's an old joke in real estate. When was the last time you went to a real estate retirement party?
Yeah.
It does, it's very rare. I've had students. The oldest student I think I had at the beginning when he signed up was 84 years old. And he stayed in a good couple, probably 4 more years actually. Somebody did just join the team. It's just literally turned 77 the week before he joined. So,
wow.
Yeah, I don't think his name's Connie. I don't think Connie's on tonight, but we're going to go ahead, and I've got a few more people to promote, and then we'll get started.
I will say one thing about real estate agents and entrepreneurs: there really is no retirement for the most part. There'll just be a new challenge, a new focus, a new something. I know I can't sit still.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of us are, have the entrepreneurial gene, and just it's just like we want to do the next thing, So,
we still have one of our single family rentals, 3 apartments, and our next venture is going to be Airbnb.
Awesome. Let's see. Everybody's just saying congratulations on retirement. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad you're staying involved, Chris. I know for me, everything you guys are seeing right now all started with me investing years ago. It was, a lot of it, there was more fun than not fun, more profit than not profit. And really at the end of the day, I just learned a lot and grew a lot wiser. And I realized, at one point I had literally hundreds of properties and thousands of tenants. And as you might imagine, there's always that relationship between the yin and the yang, right? The good and the bad. And but I realized for every tenant that was causing me heartache, there was 100 more that were just doing exactly what they were supposed to do perfectly, paying the rent on time. We had great working relationships. The 1%, I might feel like it's more than that sometimes, but was definitely far outweighed everything that went well. I know it's difficult sometimes, and the same thing with brokerage with clients. You got clients that just absolutely drive you crazy. But if you look at it, you stick with it long enough, you learn, apply what you learn, you eventually build a business out of it and build long-term relationships. And I'm live an example of that. And I've got clients now I hadn't spoken to in years, and coming back to Pittsburgh to be with my daughters opened up a lot of opportunities by reconnecting with those folks. And some of them are quite large. So it pays to maintain those relationships, guys. So without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce Robert Kramer. Robert, good to have you on board, man. I appreciate you doing this.
Hi, buddy. Glad to be here.
Yep. And for everybody who doesn't know Robert, he is an EXP. He also came over from KW, and at one point was the #1 commercial agent in KW, and was talking to me about joining a few years ago. And and like a lot of people, I had many people approaching me. He was always respectful about it. And what it came down to was really two people, Robert and y'all know Dana. And Dana was the ultimate definition of procuring calls, and it was a tough one. There was no way to pick 2 people, but I had to rely on the doctrine of procuring calls. But Robert's a great friend and partner. We've been roommates before on mastermind trips, and also the biggest thing is, at least in terms of business, is Robert brought all the material to the Commercial Reach commercial training program. We co-developed that a couple of years back, and now here we are under the same umbrella, and we've have a great working relationship. And I know him personally, and I will tell you, there may be opportunities for you guys to learn from him, as long as we behave. Is that right, Robert? As long as we behave ourselves.
I'm in Vegas. There's no behaving here.
There you go. And I know Lisa's reached out to him directly regarding a specific transaction. So if there's anything that we're not sure of, or I feel like I'm lacking in that particular skill, Robert's the guy I go to. And now we have a sort of a handshake agreement that you guys can benefit from that, and it's a win-win situation. So, in any case, what I want to do tonight, guys, is really do this is like an interview or conversation style, and ask Robert to share maybe one of his favorite techniques or methods with you, and then maybe give a case study, and you guys use this as an open mic classroom and ask questions. And I know sometimes it takes a while to get the mic going, but I would say this is your opportunity. I mean, I've been asking Robert if he could do this for several months, and he's on vacation doing this. So I think we're really grateful for having him. So Robert, is there, if you wouldn't mind, before we get into any particular strategy or case study, would you mind giving people a little bit of your background? Because that'll give us some context and help them see that really we all started from scratch. I mean, nobody was born with this knowledge,
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's good to be here, guys. Thank you all for hopping on board on a Monday evening. I'm in Las Vegas, so it's 4:00 here. We had a great year, so we're out here celebrating. It's going to be a long night, probably lots of gambling, nice dinners. We had a great year. So about my history, I got my real estate degree from the University of North Texas back in 2005. Jumped right into commercial real estate, been doing it ever since, 16 years. And I'm the definition of failing forward. My first company, they literally told me there's a desk and a phone, good luck. All I knew how to do was call people and ask for, can I help you, right? So that was literally my initiation into commercial real estate. And then 2008 happened. And as we all know, 2008 was a struggle for everybody. I mean, I was working 60, 70 hours a week, making 35 to 50,000 a year. I was trying anything and everything. What worked, didn't work. What could I say to get more clients? What the lenders weren't lending money. It was a struggle across the board when I first got started. So it took me a little bit during that 2008, 2009, 2010, everything started to turn around, at least for me, because I did not have a mentor or a coach or anybody really. I was on my own failing forward, like I said. So, and then everything changed. My hard work started to pay off. The lending side loosened up. The people I've been calling started to trust me because I've called them 10 times in 3 years, right? Everything started to escalate really quickly. So I went from 40 to 80 to 150 to 250 to 400,000, right? So it's been great. I love commercial real estate. By failing forward, it made me a great educator because I had no choice but to learn a little bit of everything, right? I was a generalist for 10 years. I love investment sales. That is my more of my passion. But I'll tell you what, I just wrapped up a $4 million lease paying 4.5%. I'm in love with that as well. So that's definitely a fun end of the year. But I do love commercial real estate. In 2011, I had the opportunity with KW to move down to Austin from Dallas. I helped run one of their offices. So I ran the office. My job was to train, educate, and recruit people to the Keller Williams office. I did that until 2016, then moved back to Dallas, and then joined EXP in 2018. I've been a broker since 2011. I don't know, I've done probably north of 500 million worth of volume since I started. But this is a passion of mine. I'm in it for life. Insider trading is legal. There's a ton of opportunity in this business. Since then, I've started, with Gary, we started Commercial Reach. I even have another company called Learn Commercial. I own part of a roofing company. We do one-on-one coaching. So we just have a lot of different avenues to make money in the same sector, right? I just love real estate, and it's been great. It's been a great journey. And there's a reason, however, commercial real estate makes up 5% of the realtor pool, right? We can talk about that if you have any questions on that. But yeah, it's more of a want as opposed to a need, which is our housing. And I will say, this year has been probably one of the more unique years in commercial real estate for me. I've seen more daisy chain of realtors on deals than I've ever seen in my life. All that means is, Gary, let's say Gary's a new agent and he's got a buddy who's in real estate in Montana. And that buddy's got a connection who owns a portfolio of real estate. They told Gary's buddy said, hey, Gary, if you can find a buyer, I'll pay you. Gary puts an email together, blasts it out to everybody he knows. And then it gets to my desk and it says, I have portfolio up to $50 million for some office product. And then when I start digging in, there's like 4 brokers on the buy side with no real listing agreement in place. That's a daisy chain. I've never seen more of those in my entire 16 years. And I've also never seen more sellers not wanting to pay commission. This is, I'd say on 60% of the deals we work on, our buyers have to pay our commission right now. And I would say on top of that, 70% of the deals that I get done on the investment side are off market. So this is just a very unique period in commercial real estate that has been different than past. And the reason is there's so much money coming in to buy, the sellers don't have to pay. They know someone's going to buy it. And the cap rates right now are crazy. I mean, just for an example, we made an offer on a $75 million property in Dallas, Texas, Deep Ellum. It was for a multifamily complex, brand new complex. At a $75 million, it was a 4 cap on projections. And I say projections because it was brand new. They were in lease up. They were like 80% leased and they were projected to be 95% leased the next quarter, into the next quarter. So we were projecting that was going to happen. That was at a 4 cap. It sold for 86 million. Right. So I mean, I've written over $500 million in offers this year. I'm a professional offer writer this year. We are being outbid. There's so much capital coming in that's looking to park money in the United States. It's a very interesting time. This is a very unique year that most people haven't experienced. I haven't. That's for sure.
I agree. Prior to the last recession, for those of you who were licensed back then, you remember it was also a seller's market, and they were multiple offers, things like that, but it was not nearly as crazy as it is today. And what's really crazy today is back then, it was mostly all the residential that was where people were, outbidding each other and things like that. Today it's everywhere, and it's even more pronounced in the commercial world, particularly when it comes to like land or land-based deals. It used to be a joke when people would say, they're not making any more land, but all the professional real estate investors would say, we really don't deal much in land because it's too speculative. Lenders don't like to lend on it. They only lend you 50% loan to value, things like that. And it was always the smallest, tiniest part of the transaction. Well, now it's like the biggest part of the transaction. And now the saying is that he or she who controls the land controls the deal. So it's a brave new world out there. And if you know anything about the Florida market, some of you are in Florida. It wasn't too long ago where you could get a half-acre lot to build on for $40,000. That even sounds side of some people. Well, now, I mean, we're watching land as long as it's got the pipes in it, the roads and the pipes. I mean, they're selling, $1 million an acre. It's crazy. But that's what's going on out there. So it doesn't mean that we get discouraged or give up. All it means is we just improvise, adapt, and overcome. So in any case, let's do this. I know it's the market's been really changing rapidly, Robert, but historically speaking, can you think of a method or a process you've used to land a deal? Let's focus on the seller now. We can talk about buyers in a minute, but what was your favorite technique or the most successful technique you used to convince sellers to sell?
Honestly, the market dictated a lot of what we said. I mean, we would, whatever the market was telling us or whatever we projected to happen over the next, say, 24 to 36 months, we would lean on that. So, I mean, there wasn't really a trade secret. It was really more of, it's a numbers game like everything else, right? If you're in sales, it's a numbers game. If you're in sales, there's only 3 things that matter, period. Educate, lead gen, follow up. And I'm on repeat when I train people. That is all that matters in our world. So when I say educate, people are confused. They're like, what do you mean educate? What kind of classes should I take? It's not really classes. When you get into commercial real estate, or you're looking to invest in commercial real estate or invest in residential or buy land, what do you have to do? What type of product do I want? Why do I want it? Who are the players in the market? What's the price point? What's the return, right? What's a good deal? What's a bad deal? Where's the best? You have to educate yourself on what you're looking to do. And then it's lead gen and follow up. You have to go lead generate. You got to go call either realtors. Do you know anybody? You have to go call owners. Are you interested in selling? No. Okay. Would you buy anything else? Right. That's just the process. You have to get them engaged on a question. Do you know anybody else? I mean, the key is get into action. If you get into action, you're going to win. The people who don't, just keep talking about this a year from now. And that's really the key to success. It's getting into action. You educate, get a game plan, go lead generate, and then you got to follow up. And that's just, I mean, honestly, that's everything about our business. Everything else will fall into place as long as you do that. And that is the truth.
I want to ask for some questions here, guys. Go ahead and type in questions if you want. There was a couple of golden nuggets there, and I know there was a lot that covered a few minutes there. But while you're doing that, one of my favorite sayings was from Richard Branson, and he said, somebody asked him, "What's the secret to your success?" And he said, "I always said yes to opportunity." And the moral of the story is, so many people think in their minds, well, I'm not ready for that. I'm not prepared for that. I don't know how to do that. And therefore the answer is no, or I'll find you somebody else. And Richard Branson says, no, the answer is yes. And I will tell you, that's true in commercial real estate. Your broker will always tell you, you always say yes. I don't care if somebody comes to you selling a submarine graveyard. How's that for a crazy example? You say yes, and then you figure out
Absolutely.
how. That was the second part of Richard Branson's statement. Yep.
We always say yes. I mean, I was on stage the other day at a conference, and they were like, well, I mean, what'd you do when you first got started? I said, I always said yes. I was overly confident, though. When I started out, I was like 22, 23. I looked like I was 12. I'm not kidding. I looked like a baby. And so the only way I could do it was come in with uber confidence. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I can help you. I'm the right person, right? A ton of confidence, but I always said yes. Can I help you? Hey, do you have anyone in Paris, France? Yes. I have no idea how I was going to get there, but I said yes because I know through through Gary, through someone I knew, we are going to find the person that can help you. Period. It's always a yes in the beginning. Right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we do have a couple questions. The first one was from Chris Latham, our newly minted retiree, and he's asking, what tasks are the highest return on hours of productivity, wages versus time, by an assistant? In other words, so if you're hiring an assistant, what would you say would be the best way to get your bang for the buck there with an assistant?
It depends on what you're looking for them to do. Like, what part of your business do you need that assistance to pick up the slack for? I mean, for me, for example, I'm looking for an executive assistant. So for me, it would be managing my life so I can focus on the 20%. And the 20% is my money-making activities, right? That is my staying on top of my education, lead generation, follow-up. Now, you can get them to give you a call list, follow-up email. So probably follow-up. If you don't have the time and you have a massive database, it's going to be one of two things most likely. It's going to be getting on board with some sort of online marketing for yourself to get feedback, social media preferably. Because one thing I've learned in taking a ton of courses and a ton of education is as the Web3 and the metaverse and all this new crazy, I don't know what the heck's going on, we live in the matrix world, is happening behind the scenes right now. One of the things that needs to happen is you need to be working when you're not working, which means if you want to lead gen at a high level, educate, follow up at a high level, it has to be doing it while you're not. You have to have a machine that is working for you when you're not working. That is going to be a winning ticket in the future. You need to set up your social media stuff properly so it's continuously posting on your behalf, getting engagement, getting more people. I need land in Tampa, Florida. Who's got land in Tampa, Florida? I want to build a multifamily. Who cares? It's got to be going when you're not working. That is something that everybody hold of, whether you like. I hate social media. I wish Elon Musk would buy Facebook and shut it down. I hate it. Truly. I don't want to follow up. I hate 18 different things I got to log into. I don't like it, but this is our reality, and this is where people are going. And so you got to either, adapt or die. That's just part of the sales job. You adapt to the new technology and what's happening in our world, or you don't. And if you don't, you're just being complacent and your business is already slowing down. You just don't know it yet. And that's also a painful truth.
Yeah. One of the key things, and we've got a couple more questions that were typed in there, but one of the key things is in your answer to the prior, one of your favorite method is the fact that it really is, it's not like there's any one thing that works perfectly well every single time. And in residential real estate, it's easier to have marketing systems in place because there's, let's face it, there's a lot more single family homes out there and condos and townhomes than there are, 200 unit apartment buildings or industrial space. It's just a lot more of it. It's a commodity. So you have a homogeneous group of consumers who are buying 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes. And they're obviously everybody's different, but economically and all that, there's a lot of similarities. So it's easy to come up with marketing campaigns that you can systematize. In commercial, the systems are usually different because every deal is really truly different. And most times you're not even using standard forms. You're creatively constructing these deals, and so therefore the contract has to be creatively, uniquely constructed at the time, often by an attorney.
That's a beautiful thing, though.
Yeah.
If you're a realtor, you don't have to be in your state to do commercial real estate. We live in a pretty gray area. I do real estate in quite a few states because I don't have to play realtor. All I'm doing is basically connecting dots, which, by the way, when you get to price points of $10 million and above with seasoned veterans, you're not playing realtor. You're not evaluating the deals for them. All you're doing is connecting Gary, who's the buyer, with, let's say, Laura, who's the seller. That's it. And then you say, okay, here's the general basics of the deal. I think it looks good. Gary, what do you think? If he says yes, you get out of the way. Gary will have a full team evaluate it. He doesn't need your advice, your opinion, anything. You did your job. Your job is to connect the dots. He needs opportunity, and you got to find it. Period.
Yeah, good point. So next question, and thank you, Robert, by the way. Next question from Gina. And Gina, I'm going to kind of change the wording a little bit. So Gina was asking, does commercial generally follow residential? What I wanted to say is, in your experience, have you seen commercial generally follow residential, or have you ever seen residential follow commercial? Did I say that right? In other words, what I'm saying is,
we're 6 months behind.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to know. So where do you see it going, and when do you see it shifting? Because right now it's crazy busy.
It is crazy busy, but not every market's crazy busy. So I've talked about this before, I think even with Gary, but if you look at the United States, you start off on the coast. Everything happens on the coast first, and then it collapses into the center of the country, and then it collapses on Texas last. Okay, center, point, down. That's how it goes every time. Commercial real estate follows households with growth, right? So if households slow down, commercial real estate will slow down 6 months down the road. Now, office is making a comeback because people realize they can. I'll say office is making a comeback. The smaller office sector is doing pretty well. The large scale, like the HPs and the large scale commercial office buildings that have 1 million square feet, those are going to suffer because they're going to have a hybrid model in the future. It's not going to be the same. But industrial and multifamily are going to be hot for the next 3 to 5 years. E-commerce is not going to slow down. Distribution centers are going to be needed more than ever. Data centers, you think data centers are going to slow down? They're only going to increase, right? So the industrial sector and the multifamily sector and the single family rental sector are going to be hot for the next 3 to 5 years. So I tell everyone as well, if you don't know who Blackstone is, follow Blackstone.
No kidding.
Them and Vanguard, they own everything. They always lead the market on what's happening. If you haven't noticed, they're buying a crap ton of single family homes. Why? Because people who went through forbearance and all the struggle, what are they doing with their houses? They can't refi their houses because they went through forbearance. They can't, if they lost their job, they can't refinance, they can't buy another house. What are they going to do? They're going to sell it and rent. What do millennials like to do? Millennials do not want to have loyalty. They don't want to commit. They want to be flexible and have the capability of bouncing around to a different job in a better city with better whatever they're wanting in their world, right? Which is, I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, frankly, that's kind of freeing. A lot of us would, if I could snap my fingers and say I could have this job in this city, well, that'd be amazing, right? Well, they like that ability to do that without having the loyalty to. And so the rental market is going to be hot for a long time. I think we're pretty solid there. Now, retail, certain markets are going to be okay. Certain markets are going to struggle. We saw more old school 100-year-old restaurants shut down in California and in New York than we've ever seen ever, right? Now, some of those are starting to come back, but with COVID, scaring a lot of people and making them nervous, rightfully so with restaurants, not only because some patrons don't want to go, but if their county, city, state makes new mandates, which will disallow people to go, why would you spend the money and take the risk, right?
Right.
So we'll see how this all shakes out. But the restaurant and the retail side is still, I don't watch the news. I never watch the news ever. I watch, if it was up to me, I think everyone should watch Squawk Box or Squawk on the Street in the morning. Why? Because they're business talk. They talk, these are the businesses that are making moves, making changes, hiring CEOs, because that's going to affect my commercial real estate. I don't really care about what people think about COVID. I don't care.
Yep.
Thank you.
There is one, and you mentioned it too, Robert. One micro sector in commercial is data centers, guys. And I just got a invitation to be on a call with the former CEO of Oracle. Started a new company. They're building these hyper green data centers that are so well constructed they don't even need commercial air conditioning and heating, HVAC. So I'm interested in, I know, and they're using dome technology to build. Anybody remember a guy named Buckminster Fuller, Bucky Fuller? He was famous in the 1900s. He was a futurist thinker, architect, scientist, engineer. He's the one who took the concept of the geodesic dome and was able to mass produce it. And the concept is, because of its design, the material used, the temperature stays relatively stable year round. It doesn't matter if it goes up to 90 degrees or down to 30. You don't need HVAC in those things. So in any case, this company's utilizing elements of that technology and combine that with the fact that we know there is a need for data centers or servers to reside, big servers. I'm looking into it personally, and if it pans out, I'll obviously pass on information. And I don't know what the requirements are to participate with those guys as far as capital outlay, but I'm thinking, in addition to me personally, I'm thinking in terms of our team and how can we get involved with finding a land where we can build data centers, or our clients can build data centers, and all we do is we get the listings. And then when the properties are built, you can, like Robert does leases. So your latest one, you did a lease recently, Robert, is that right? A really nice lease?
Yeah, I don't do many leases, but I mean, 95% of my 95% of my business is by referral. And actually my chiropractor referred me at this guy, and they came out of California. And the reason they're leaving California is because they don't want their kids to wear a mask in school. That is the truth. They don't want their kids to wear masks. They feel it's kind of weird, right? So they left, moved to Texas, their headquarters, and it's a $4.14 million lease, 7-year deal, 6 months free, up to 20,000 square feet. But that's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's a great Christmas bonus, right? I mean, I just invoiced them for $203,000 for a lease. If y'all have never gotten into commercial real estate, tenant representation is the fastest way to get into real estate, period, on the commercial side. If you want to get paid fast, that is the easiest and most accessible way to get in.
Yep. My very first commercial agent, it wasn't David Bradley. A lot of these folks have met David Bradley. He used to run my commercial division of my brokerage company when I had it, before I did the merger. There was a guy before him. He was a son of one of my agents, and he was pretty much fresh out of college. Didn't have much work experience. He used to joke, he said, I got a lot of experience drinking beer. And I said, well, you're going to have to start working. And his mom would pay his way, which I thought, you're just enabling him to not go after it. Well, he finally went after it. And his first deal was a long-term lease. So it took 18 months to get it all secured. It was unusual for a lease, but he made $176,000 right out of the gate. First transaction, 107, it's $176,000 on his first transaction. Yep, brand new. And the cool thing about these things, guys, in commercial, there's so much creativity. So you've heard about people, you've heard the term triple net lease. Well, triple net leases are bought and sold just like other commodities. You know, in other words, a landowner will lease land to a Circle K or a Sheetz or a 7-Eleven, depending on where you are in the country. You know, the corner gas station, corner market, convenience store, that whole thing. A lot of times we'll do 99-year leases. So they'll
That's
get
a ground lease, though, not a triple net.
Yeah, ground lease. So triple net would be like the usually those are like 30 years, I think. That's the building, everything. So the owner doesn't pay anything. The renter pays everything, all utilities, property taxes, the whole.
That'd be like, well, that's an absolute net lease. So you're thinking of like a Sonic or a Chase Bank or a CVS or Walgreens. That's an absolute net lease, which is mailbox money. So yeah, you're right. That's a 20 to 50 year, 20 to 30 year lease. And it's mailbox money, but there's not many bumps. A ground lease is a beautiful thing if you do have the right piece of dirt, because a ground lease, you would sign that 99-year ground lease. And the beautiful thing is all you own is the dirt. But let's say Gary owned a Chase Bank, and Chase Bank said, we want that location. We want to buy it from you. No, but I'll lease it to you. Now, Chase Bank has to go and build their own building. If they build their building, guess who owns the building? Gary does. All they're doing is going to pay Gary to have the ability to use the land. Whatever they construct on it now belongs to Gary. That's why they would sign a long-term lease with the bank. But the beautiful thing, ground leases are great.
And it's some things that are really even more neat about it is that owner can actually sell the lease. He can take an immediate chunk of cash and sell that to someone else like it's a note, and another person then will receive the monthly payments from Chase. And so what I was ultimately driving at is the agents. I've seen commercial agents take their commissions and they could structure it where you can get in payout. You can get paid up front, you can get paid twice, you can get paid every month for the next 10 years. But you can take those. I don't recommend it, but what they do is they'll take that, convert it into a note and sell the note, and they get paid up front, right? And then the other person has to go and collect their commission payments. But generally, I know if it was me, I just want to get paid right up front. So either I will take everything, I'll take a discount to get paid now, or I would take that long-term residual income coming and convert it to a note and sell that and still get my money now. And then somebody else takes the risk, you know? But have you ever seen anybody do that, Robert? Take their commission and bundle it and sell it like it's a note?
Not the commission, no, because I never even give them an opportunity to tell me they're going to pay me monthly. I'm not going to deal with that because there's too much risk.
Right.
What if they die? What if the tenant goes to bankruptcy? What if they just sell it and the new seller says, F you? Are you going to sue them? No, you're not going to sue them. Right. So it's way too many obstacles that could pop up. I'm not going to play accountant either. I'm not going to invoice them every month. I'm not going to follow up if they didn't pay me by the 5th. Right. That sounds like a nightmare. I want my money now. I want to move on down the road to the next deal. Yeah. Do not chase money if you don't have to. Now, since insider trading is legal, one thing I've done like this year, like I told y'all, a lot of sellers aren't paying commission. So I had one deal in particular. It's a 150 unit complex in Fort Worth, Texas. And it's with the group who notoriously does not pay commission. And I sent it off to my guys, my buyers, and they said, we like it. We want to syndicate it. I'm like, great. We made an offer. Of course, I had my commission on there. I knew they were going to say no, but they said, look, here's the deal. We like y'all. We like you, Robert. However, if your offer has the word commission on it, we won't even look at it. And I said, okay, well, let's say we offer you $11.35 million and $175,000 will be added on top of that later if you agree to that net. And then it's just at the closing, that would come back to me. They said, no, we will not have anything going back to anybody at closing. I'm like, shit. Okay. I'm not going to kill the deal for my client. I'm not going to have them lose out on an opportunity. So I went to my client. I said, look, I've sent you a lot of deals. We worked out a lot of properties together. How about I just ride with you guys on the GP side? And they said, sure. So they basically gave me $150,000 worth of equity on the general partner side of this investment. So we close into this month and I'm riding with them into the deal. So, I mean, obviously the goal for me would be turn that 150 into like 250 or 300 in 3 years, right? There's a lot of different ways. If you like your client and you think it's a winning property and you have the financial capability, roll it in there. Now, if you don't like your client, don't do this. If you don't see the opportunity or you need money for your family, don't do that. But if you have enough set aside and you have the capability and you see the win, hop on board. If they'll allow you, why not? Insider trading is legal. There's no faster way to get started investing than to hop on board with these guys on the GP or LP side.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways, particularly in today's market, guys, when it definitely is a seller's market, and the sellers can pretty much say what they want and do what they want and ask for what they want, and they pretty much know they'll get it. One of the things you can do is do what Robert did, and I know some top people in the industry, and even I never met Trammell Crow, but he's actually from Tyler, Texas, was from Tyler, Texas, relocated to Northern Virginia. And he used to tell his guys all the time, he said, look, participate in every deal you can. Trade some or all of your commission for a piece of the deal. And that's one sure way to break into the ownership side of things, where when you're an agent or a broker, you're still trading your time for money. No matter how you slice it, it's a job. You can structure it like a business through S corps and all that stuff we teach. But what I'm getting at is you're trading time for money. If you have the wherewithal and you can take some or all of your commission, make it part of the deal. I would encourage you to look at that opportunity. And I may be doing the same thing right now. I'm not in production, technically speaking, but there is one transaction I'm involved in right now. And that opportunity may be there, and will likely take it if they accept it. So it's just an opportunity to be part of something that's a landmark development. It's definitely like the crown on top of the head type of a project. And I'm not anywhere nearly being the principal. I'm just happen to know the people that own it. And then there's Bobby Appleby knows people that want something like that, and the guy happens to be from the area. He knows the property. So Lord willing, this thing will go through. But the reality is I'll tell you what I'm doing. Here's what I'm doing. I can tell you this publicly. As far as the nature of the deal, I can't discuss that. But what I'm asking for from the buyer side is for me to have brokerage rights for sales, leasing, and management for this property that could be, when it's all said and done, 25 stories on 2 acres. So that that's a short-term benefit and a long-term benefit that could be quite a bit. And the only reason I have the confidence to ask for is because of what Robert said. It's right now sellers feel like they can get away. They don't have to pay for anything. So the buyers are used to these things. So I can structure it and word it such that the buyer feels like, well, it's part of the deal. They're going to give it to somebody. I'm asking them to give it to me. Somebody's got to sell those units. Somebody's got to lease them. Somebody's got to manage them. And I want that to be us guys. So in any case, just an example of what you can do in commercial transactions. And I know when I first started, guys, I wasn't doing commercial. I was just doing residential. My first 1 or 2 commercial deals were just pure luck. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. Now, I will tell you, it was definitely because I had the relationships. I didn't start off with the relationships. I earned the relationships through being in the business and networking, going to events, going to meetings, going to conferences, starting investor clubs, right? That was one of my all-time. If I could rest on that one technique and tell you beyond a shadow of doubt, if I only did that one technique, I could have lived off that, but that led me to these relationships is what I'm getting at. So in any case, so Robert, let's talk about the beginning. I want people to have a realistic view of this in a commercial world. I know people that started a commercial from scratch, blank, right out of college, or even not even college, but just from scratch. I know people that went into it years later after they had residential experience. But what are some of the things you could tell somebody who's thinking about commercial? Let's take example. Example A would be somebody who doesn't have the deep pockets or some other source of income coming in. They really are. They'd be starting off with no capital and no other income. What would you suggest to that person? And somebody who's maybe been at it for 20 years and has got a database of clients that do some investments already in the residential side. There's two examples, if you wouldn't mind. What would you, how would you coach somebody in those two scenarios?
Well, they honestly be the same thing, just at a different level. I mean, it'd be educate, lead gen, and follow up. I mean, I'm telling you, that is the secret sauce, and people want to fight it. There has to be something. There's got to be a way to better make it faster. I mean, unfortunately, success looks a lot like hard work. All right, can you get lucky? Sure. But the reality is, whether you're starting off like I did, you have to find a level of education. So when you get someone who says, I need help, or yes, I'm interested, you can at least have an intellectual conversation at a base level on what you're talking about. So you got to go through commercial reach, or you got to go to learn commercial. You got to go somewhere, go to college, go to your board, your local board, or who cares where, just get a level of education, right? You got to start somewhere. Get the lingo down. What is a triple net lease, right? The fastest way, in my opinion, to actually have a base level of knowledge for your local market. So let's say you go through these classes, but I create a grid, and the grid would be office, retail, industrial, multifamily, downtown, tertiary market, right? A, B, and C. This is what the lease rates are going for. This is what the cap rates are going for. You kind of get a grid of everything broken out. So you can start to see a pattern of what things are trading for. It's obviously going to be more expensive downtown. It's going to be less expensive when you go to the tertiary markets. Class C is going to be your cheapest. Class A is going to be your most expensive. You start to see a pattern. So when someone asks you, this is what I need, then you can kind of have that education. Now, with the commercial reach and learn commercial, the amount of information you have within those programs is everything you would need to get started to make money in commercial real estate, period. That's all you need to get started. The rest of it is you have to go talk to people. Now, the easiest way to do it is go talk to residential realtors. They already talking to a lot of people. I need this. I need to find this. And then tenant rep. 100%, if you're getting started, look at tenant representation, learn tenant representation, and then that is all your focus is until it doesn't have to be. That is the fastest way to make money. You can literally get a deal done in a week. It's not always going to happen, but it is possible. Because commercial real estate, the investment deals, the acquisitions, and the dispositions, they can take, my fastest is 14 days, and that was kind of a freak occurrence. My longest is 18 days. 18 months, right? 18 months. So, and everything in between. I'd say the average I do when I go into contract from contract to close is probably, it's right now probably 60 days, realistically probably 75. But from first conversation to close, that's probably, I'd say 90 to 120. Even this lease I just wrapped up, we just got the signed contract, signed lease back today from the lender. So the lender had to sign off on it, which may seem odd to you guys, but the lender has a vested interest in the property. They want to know the financial strength and the terms of the lease that they're responsible for in the property. Happens a lot. So a lot of these big leases, right? They'll have a clause in there that talks about you as the tenant. Like Gary, if you're my tenant, it would say, once a quarter, once a year, if I request you send me your P&L statement certified by your CPA, you're gonna have to do it within 30 days. It's for the lender. It's not for the owner. But yeah, tenant rep, 100%. I would dive into that. Learn everything you can. Go knock on doors. My first coach in real estate said, go find the property you like, in an area you like, which has a ton of tenants. Like, go find a property that has at least 500,000 square feet of office space. Now go in there every day till you get kicked out every day. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, go meet every tenant. How do you like being here? How do you like the rate? Do you like the amenities? Have you ever thought about a second location? Do you want to downsize? Do you want to upsize? How is your business going here? Is there anything I can do to help you? The whole name of this game is to get into conversations with people. So when they finally say yes, you're there to help.
any books you recommend, or Audible books on Audible or printed or podcasts that you can
I
think
mean,
of?
honestly, those really aren't commercial real estate, because commercial real estate in itself is not overly difficult. Like selling houses, it's not overly difficult. The main things you have to learn is sales skills. You need to learn what it takes to go and sell stuff. And again, it's educate, lead gen, follow up, and getting to work. That's really the main thing. It's not, it's people make this way too complicated. Like there's 7 colors and 10 numbers. We as humans screw everything up and make it complicated. This is not complicated, right? We're not doing rocket science, brain surgery here. We're literally connecting dots with someone who says, I have a restaurant space. We go find them restaurant space. And the rest is just finances and financials and painting a story. It's not crazy, but it's a numbers game and a people game. You have to get in front of people. But too many people think everything needs to be perfect, or my flyer, I have to know everything. No, you don't. You just have to go. Like the last time I was at a conference, I said, okay, everybody stand up. Look to the person next to you and say, how can I help you? And I was like, there you go. That's how you get business. That's it. But that's the reality. You have to be, this is a contact sport. You got to get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Grant Cardone stuff because he gets in your face, but there's lots of sales books out there that are phenomenal.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know of any, I don't know. I haven't read any great ones where it was in commercial real estate where I thought, wow, that really is going to excel my career. It's always been specific, right? It's always been like, this is how you break down the numbers on a financial analysis of a multifamily. That's really specific, and you don't want to start there.
Yep. There is a book, as you were mentioning that, I think the title was The Psychology of Persuasion, and it's like not a business book, but it's everything that sales is based on, There's Richard Caldone, I think, or something like that. Does anybody recognize that?
I know the book, but yeah.
Great book. It's a funny read. He gives real life examples of kids with a lemonade stand and things like that, and a Cub Scout coming around selling candy bars.
Yeah, but Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, it's people get in their own way. KISS is a real thing. Keep it simple, stupid. You need to keep this simple and just go talk to people and ask how you can help them. If you do that after you got a little bit of education, right? Education, lead gen, follow up. I mean, I hammer that into everybody because they don't want to do it. Nobody wants to cold call. Nobody enjoys lead generation. Nobody.
Yeah. So when you use the term lead gen, is that the term you're using to refer to keeping the communication lines open, reaching out to your sphere and nurturing?
No, that's follow up.
Follow up. So when it comes to lead gen, are you using what are you using data sources to identify?
I'm all referral. I go after residential agents. They are my client. I treat residential agents like they're my client.
Okay.
I go to them and I say, how can I help you? Who do you have? Tell your clients you work with that you can now help them with commercial real estate. I want to be your guy. How can I have the opportunity to help you? Let me help your clients. Again, we make up 5% of the realtor pool. There are way more residential agents.
Yep. Form alliances.
Yeah, but if you don't do that, you have to have that machine going. You have to have your social media going for you. They need to see what you're doing. If they do and you do it well, you'll have great success there.
Yep. One of my favorite techniques of all time is that I use this a lot, is a booklet that I created years ago. And the booklet is really nothing more than like a financial planner will give you a booklet when you're getting ready to invest money in the stock market or mutual funds. And it gives you, data, charts of information, performance data on different funds. So I thought, why don't I do that with real estate? And I'll build this booklet and give them examples of recent properties that have sold, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, flips, things like that, and say, dude, this is what's happening right where you live in your marketplace. Would you like me to find one for you too? That's exactly what I did. And I used it with doctors and dentists and things like that. And that's really how I got started in the investor world, getting those clients.
But I mean, if you look at lead gen, if you watch some of the stuff that me and you did, or go to Learn Commercial and look at the lead gen class, I tell everyone, go find 10 areas you think you can get clients from. PT, your sports club, your country club, the library. I don't care where it is. Who cares? These are 10 areas I think I know people, they like me, I can get business from. And then you narrow it down to your top 3. And your top 3 are non-negotiable every day, Monday through Friday. You have to be reaching out to some of them. I'm not saying go make 100 phone calls a day, but commit to something. I must talk to 5 a day. I need to reach out to 10 a day, 20 a day. Pick a number and just go do it. 3 groups, someone from those 3 groups every single day. And then you got to follow up, right? Every day. That's lead generation. Follow up is just as important.
Yep.
I know Sam asked a question here though, because he said term negotiable. That's more of a term you would see when there's no rate. So I'm a little, the location is perfect. How would I go find a buyer? So I'm assuming you're saying that this is already leased out, because then you wouldn't find a buyer if there's no lease in place. Can you clarify that?
Yes, Sam, if you want to unmute yourself, go ahead. Sam,
Sam, you're on mute.
muted.
You're on mute.
There is a location, and it's in a nice area of Boca Raton. There's locations that you could rent out. It's like a strip mall.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
you know, this agent has been looking to sell or lease the properties. And like when you said 18 months it takes to get some of these deals done. When I got the email, I thought to myself, wow, he hasn't leased these out yet? I'm surprised. But I think they had to do updates to the properties. That's why it's taking a while to get them leased. But $25 a square feet, I'm assuming that he's saying it's negotiable. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm not a commercial guy.
Yeah, well, if they're saying that, I mean, the term means one of 2 things. Usually they say rate, but sometimes they mean the rate. But term could mean 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Rate 25 plus triple net. Triple nets are probably anywhere from $5 to $10. But you wouldn't really find a buyer for that. You have to go find a tenant. Now, I've never had a tenant take 18 months. The longest I've had to deal with a tenant once under negotiations is maybe 2 months. Tenants are pretty quick. I mean, for that, all you can really do is, you know, if you want to be proactive and trying to find a tenant, you go contact, if you think it's for auto, you go contact auto dealerships close by, or you contact brokers who are dealing with auto tenants and say, who have you guys talked to, who's moving in the area, etc. Because you wouldn't really find a buyer unless you had an owner user, or you had a buyer saying, hey, if I lease this out, is this something you would buy? Outside of that, you wouldn't really find a buyer.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean buyer. I meant
tenant.
Tenant.
Got it.
My bad.
Yeah. Well, if you're the listing agent, then you try and do the same thing, being proactive. But the reality is most listing brokers don't do anything. They put it on CoStar, put it online, and they go on to the next client, right? And they wait for phone calls. That's just the truth. So if you wanted to go find a tenant, you know, again, I'd post on social media. Hey, I know of a great location for an auto dealership. Post on social media. Call auto dealers in the area. Call tow companies. Call anyone in the car industry and say, do you know anybody that would like this location? I mean, what's the reality? There's going to be 100 people you can call. Call them all. What do you think is going to happen?
Why car companies? I'm not sure why you.
I'm just saying. For some reason I thought I said red, but it's not. I'm assuming it was a car, but whatever it is. Let's say it's a restaurant, a bar, a coffee shop. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. What do you think would be the highest and best use there? And then just go call anyone you think would be a highest and best use. And that does 2 things for you. Number 1, you're getting used to being on the phone call. Number 2, you're being proactive. And number 3, if you made 100 calls for people who you think would be great for this area, what's the likelihood of 0 of them needing something from you?
They might need something else. Yeah.
Exactly. The likelihood of them needing nothing is almost 0. Some of them are going to say, well, I got you on the phone, right? I need an investment property. I need to sell this. I want to buy this. I actually have a location I want, whatever. So, you know, lead generation does a couple amazing things when you actually do it. You'll be surprised at the results.
Hey, Mark Farron, he's doing great up in Clarksville, Tennessee. And by the way, congratulations again, Mark, and for bringing home the bacon. But Mark, did they Did Dan Brown close today? I think no, was that tomorrow? Sorry, it's tomorrow.
No, it closes tomorrow.
Okay, excellent.
Maybe,
So,
hopefully.
hey guys, I do have to tell you this. So, I like having good stories of being resilient and persistent. So, Mark's had a transaction going on for a while where the train fell off the tracks. He got it back on the tracks. The train caught fire and he put the fire out and got it running again. Then the wheels ran off, put the wheels back on, and finally the thing is just about to head into the station for payday. But you work hard for your transactions. It definitely pays to work hard to keep them. And I'm sure, Robert, same thing in commercial, man. Sometimes you got to work really hard to keep that train on track. But
18 months.
What's that?
18 months. That deal fell apart twice.
Unbelievable. Yep. So the question is how are businesses repurposing banks, CVS, and some of the other businesses that are pulling out recently? I've seen that around. I mean, other examples, but those are some obvious ones here.
Jewelry store or restaurant for banks. The private vault area for the high-end jewelry. And who doesn't want to have a private event in the vault? That's cool. Serious. It's awesome. They can repurpose that. People love especially the old banks. The old banks with the cast iron doors you can see and just looks badass. Those are really cool spots to repurpose, as long as you can get the parking in line. CVS pulled out, they're closing 900 stores. Wow. Right? What do you do with that? Schools, daycare, pet store, lingerie store. Those are popping up. There's a lot of different things because they got quite a bit of parking. Even an event center, a small event center could work.
Yep.
But there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot popping up.
Yeah. One of the classic examples is starting back in the 90s. Churches, particularly in the older parts of the country, were starting to just basically close their doors because their congregations were dwindling, right? And they were consolidating their congregations. So at first, people were turning them into breweries and restaurants. You see those popping up all over the place. I've even seen, actually on our team, John Perry on our team bought a church and it's now his home. He lives there with his family. But one of the best ones I've seen was a real departure from the norm. The client took a church. It was a big church with a big giant reception hall in addition to the church itself, turned it into an events venue for weddings and funerals, mainly weddings. And then in the off seasons when there wasn't activity, she would lease it out for business, commercial events like businesses having a conference or their annual, celebration, things like that. I thought, what a brilliant idea. She put in some high-end dressing rooms and bathrooms. She put in in the groom's room where they get ready for the wedding, she put a pool table, she put in an elevator. And so the church, the main, the chapel itself was where you could have the wedding ceremony or the funeral ceremony. And also you could quickly put tables out, have a dinner there. And then the rec hall that was up some stairs where the elevator was a dance hall. Just an amazing example of what can be done. So I'm looking around. I found an office building near Pittsburgh area called Bellevue, where somebody was converting it into instead of one person taking the whole building, he created these little micro offices where you could rent one of it. You take your own space and rent it like a condo for offices. But he did something else because that's been around. Like Regis does that. Regis rents out space to people who want a temporary office space. But he went a lot further. He put in a gym in the basement with a sauna and a shower stalls and dressing room, the whole 9 yards. Put in a really nice kitchen, and a really nice living room, and the rest were individual office spaces. Some were cubes and some were private offices. I thought that was one of the coolest things I've seen. So.
Has anyone ever been to John's Pizza in Times Square, New York?
Oh wait, yes, I've eaten there. Yeah.
It's a grand old church, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And the old school churches are just badass.
Yep. And I've seen the restaurant with the vault and everything with the bank too, and it's cool. I've seen coffee shop with that also.
Yep.
So yeah, it is. It's a cool concept.
Yeah,
What
but
about
nothing
malls?
compares here. We're too young here. I lived in London for 3 years, and you go up there, and it's like, they're like, yeah, we got some churches from like 1910. They're like, hey, whatever. You got like
Exactly.
1675. What the hell are you talking about? You got nothing.
And the
It's
1600s are the new ones.
yeah, it's yeah, but
So
malls can turn into an entire mixed use community.
now, have you seen, because Gary and I have talked about mixed use, I've seen it work some places, like San Jose has got a great one, but everything's high end there also. And plus you've got tech, all the money there. So have you seen mixed use work in other places?
Yeah, I mean, walkability is a great thing.
Hmm.
Now, but again, every market's different. Like Dallas Fort Worth's really spread out. So it's
Hmm.
pretty difficult to make a mixed use development like that work. More than likely, the city, the state will buy it, rip it down. It's a big, or they'll keep a few of them. Like I think a really great thing, if you have a great walkability, is create micro suites for houses. I've seen a couple in Nashville. Fantastic. My buddy bought one, or he developed it. He took an old like Motel 6,
Hmm.
and he turned them all into apartments. So that little, 175 square foot room is an
Hmm.
apartment. And he took like 72 or 74 units now. And it's a tiny footprint.
I've
And they're
seen
leasing
senior
out for
housing.
like $850 a month.
Yeah, I've seen senior housing go that direction too, which is always interesting.
Well, Gina, around where you are in Orlando, uh, I had a student that was from, I forget what the town was, between Orlando and like Port St. Lucie, somewhere in that stretch, middle of nowhere. In any case, he would he would go in and find these old hotels that were like B and C hotels. See,
Mhm.
Marriott, they all want the good prop, the really nice grade A properties. But he would take these like Motel 6 type places and convert them into suites like Robert was talking about, or rent them out to the seasonal workers that worked at Disney World, you know, and Universal. Thought that was cool. Another thing I've seen now two schoolhouses, old schools, converted into residential living. Nice too, really nice. You know,
I mean, someone asked about Austin. Austin, Texas, everything's booming right now in Austin. I'm in Austin every month. My family lives there. I'll be there on Wednesday. Everything's a super premium there. The problem is, even if you want to do that in Austin right now, one of the obstacles we talked about land earlier. Land in certain markets is you're paying a premium for the dirt because everyone knows everybody wants dirt, except especially developers. Now, if you pay the premium for dirt, the other problem is the cost of construction has gone up 30 to 40% for cost. Like I said, I own part of a roofing company. We're up 40% on our cost,
yeah.
right? So if that's the case, rents have not gone up 40%. They haven't kept up. So the margins are thinning. So you really have to be careful on what you're doing. You really got to project out properly. So the ones who are winning the most right now are kind of the ones that are scaling. I mean, they're buying big assets and reducing that capital contribution, capital cost down quite a bit. The small, mid-size, you better have your numbers locked in tight because it can be pretty tough out there. So Austin's a tough market to break into because you really got to know that market. I've done a few deals in Austin, and but again, people are willing to pay crazy money to get in Austin right now. So anything's possible. I've seen some stuff that makes no sense. We sold a church for $1 million an acre.
Austin wooed all the tech out of San Francisco. And
Well,
the
they've
price
called
of
it Silicon Hills though for the last 10 years
yeah.
or longer, right? I mean, Oracle's there, Facebook, Samsung's building their new $1 billion campus in Taylor. You know, Elon Musk he's going to own that entire panhandle. I mean, that gigafactory. You know, I've toured 2 million square foot industrial site. This thing blows it out of the water. It's not even funny. I mean, you're driving 80 miles an hour and it takes you 20 seconds to go by it. I mean,
Wow.
it's absolutely insane how big that is. And Elon Musk even said, if we could have 100 gigafactories, we could power the entire world.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Wow. Yep. So let's
I also love Elon Musk's tweets with politicians. I think that's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is he's his net worth is far more than Jeff Bezos or Zuckerberg or any of those guys. You know, Bill Gates. I mean, he's at the last check was like 400 billion or something like that. Just this crazy, you know.
Yeah. And one of the
So-
politicians said they need to rewrite the tax law so people like him pay more taxes. He paid more taxes this year than anyone in history.
That's,
Well, that's politicians for you. They think the secrets of success is to take it from the people that create jobs. And I'm not trying to get political, believe me, but if you study tables, like actuarial tables and tables on the future value of cash flows and things like that, and you throw in taxes, there actually is a sweet spot. And I'll give you an example we're talking about here. So has anybody seen the accounting table that showed what your retirement nest egg would look like if you put in $100 a month for 30 years and the different interest rates from left to right? Has anybody seen that? You can Google it and find it. Okay. So there's a great video out there that shows why it doesn't pay to raise taxes. It actually hurts to raise taxes. Mathematically, it hurts. So if you took that, if let's say you put $100 a month for 30 years and you're making 10%, the end of 30 years, let's say you'd have $10 million. Okay. So politician would say, well, we're going to tax half of that. And that way they get half and I get half. But that's not what happens. If the consumer can only keep 5% of what they earn on their retirement and the government gets the other 5%, okay, of the 10%, you would think you would chop it in half, like you go to the 15-year mark. That's not what happens. It's a fraction. It's like a 20% fraction. So what happens is when you overtax, it depletes the amount of revenue that's out there in the field, people buying food, people buying cars, people buying clothes. That all diminishes, which further reduces tax generation. Okay. If they would just keep it, to what's necessary to pay for schools, roads, and everything that's really necessary, the free market economy would take care of the rest. That's how it's designed, but they can't help themselves. And that's been proven time and again. History is, if you read history and you study this stuff, it's not like it's an occasional or a thing or a gray area. It's a fact, absolute fact,
Come on, Gary. The government would
Yeah.
never lie to you. Ronald Reagan said, the scariest words in the English language are, I'm from the government. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
Let's
So it's
get back on
interesting.
track. I do want to say one last thing about
Yeah.
real estate on this plight of commercial real estate that we're all on here. Because people always ask again, what's the secret sauce? What do I need to do? The thing is, like I said, people don't get into action. Getting into action is one of the hardest and probably most valuable things that you'll ever do, because you're getting into action on the things that educate the lead and follow up. Now, one thing I tell all of the people I do coach and train is this. If you had the knowledge that all I have to do is educate, lead and follow up, that's my job. That's my job every day, Monday through Friday. The rest will fall into place. If I was my boss, would I hire myself or would I fire myself? And 95% of realtors would fire themselves if they're honest with themselves. That's the reality. Everyone's fighting it. I don't have a boss. I don't have to do that. I don't want to do that. All you're really saying is, I know what I have to do, but I'm afraid of success. I don't want success. People are giving you the keys to success. That's what it takes. If you don't want to do it, sales may not be for you.
Hey, let's do this. I think we hit all the questions, but I want to talk about the relationships. So I know a lot of agents, especially when they're first getting started or they're getting back into the business, or whatever the case is, they're trying to ramp up their business. Most of us tend to focus on earning the commission, whatever we can do to get that commission. And over time, you evolve and you realize, okay, wait a second. I need to maintain that relationship. So would you say in the commercial world, the relationship is less important in the residential world or more important in the residential world, building and maintaining relationships in the commercial sector?
It's probably a little bit more important just because we do fewer transactions.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know, done over half of, I don't like talking numbers too much, but I'll do over 500,000 GCI this year, and I've only done 8 transactions, right?
Yep.
So on the residential side, I have to be looking at 50, 75, 100 transactions. So therefore, my relationship basis is less important because I have bigger numbers. With fewer numbers, everything is more important, right? Everything is more meaningful. I need to get more things done because I don't have 100 opportunities, nor the time. These deals take longer. So like, but if you say it again, this is how it works. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this or not. If you do what I just told you, this will be your business. You will start. Lead generation sucks. It still sucks. Oh wait, it's getting better. Your business will hockey stick if you do it on purpose and you follow up properly. That's what my business did, and that's what yours can too. However, when you start over here and your business starts to go up, you start running out of time. Now what? I can't handle any more clients. I'm forgetting things. I'm losing track of my appointments. I'm losing clients. Then you have to hire people and get out of the way. Let them do the busy work. Or you do what I did. You hire someone and raise your financial thermostat and only work with clients who are at this square footage or this price point. Because one thing you're going to learn is like me, I love helping people. I want to help everybody, but I can't. I can't help everybody because I have too many things going on. I got 3 jobs, 2 kids, divorced. I can't help a lot of people. To minimize and refer and have great partners around me, like a Gary, and say, this is someone you can help, go help them. And then I get to dictate who and what I spend my time on. I only want to deal with, my goal is, if it's not grossing 6 figures, I want to be able to refer it out.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone else, I want to refer it to them and help them get to where I am. Right. So I have referral partners around the country where I just want to refer deals to. And that's not like a woe is me thing. I just don't have the time. Right. I want everybody to get to that point. We get to decide who and when we work on what clients. That's an amazing thing. Because like Gary mentioned earlier, the more money you make, all you're doing is giving yourself more options. With money, you start buying back your time. Do you think after 5 o'clock, I have my 2 sons, I want to work? I don't work. My phone's done. They have my attention, right? The weekends, they have my attention. So that's all you're doing is buying your time back. The more money you make, you're hiring help to get more time for the things you want to do. Because I love real estate, but I don't love it that much, right? I'd rather be traveling and doing what I choose to do, play golf, travel, be with my kids.
Yeah. I know most of the big investors I know too, and a lot of them they came from some other industry. Like I know a family of the father and both sons are all 3 surgeons, and the work we do is on their breaks during the day. When they're home, they want to be with their families, and on the weekends. And so in commercial, it is, once you're up and running, it is easier to maintain and your boundaries around your schedule, because you're working with investors who generally have other things to do anyways. And I'll tell you this too. I can say conclusively over the life of my business career, in the beginning when I first got started, when nobody knew me, it was easier to find people that let me sell their home or help them buy a home without knowing me. They didn't know me at all, and they would let me help them buy or sell their home. When it came to the bigger investment transactions like commercial, nobody would give me anything in the beginning. It was the relationships that paid off long term. When they learn to know you, like you, and most importantly, trust you, they'll give you those really big transactions. There's a lot more at stake. They want to know that they can trust you. That not that you just know what you're doing, but you're gonna represent them and have their best interests in mind, and be candid with them. Everybody will tell you at the highest levels, the thing they need to know the most is what are the facts? What's the truth? Don't try to sugarcoat
Transparency.
Try to hide anything. That's it, man. Bobby and I just talked about the other day. I said, Mike, one of the reasons I was able to get some of these things is I just was open with people. They were like, okay, we don't have to worry about this guy. He's pretty much an open book. But
transparency is game changing. Don't act like you know everything. Don't act like you can get something done. Be honest with them. This is our market. It's going to be hard. I got people call me all the time. Like, I want an 8 cap in Austin, Texas. I'm like, are you on crack? How about a 5? Let's come back down to where we are.
Actually, Bonette and I were talking about that yesterday. She's putting together some sample data for a new client. And we were, of course, trying to find the best things there was. And she realized, man, one guy was selling a 4-unit building for 1.7. And we calculated the cash flow on it with an 80% mortgage. And it was minus $35,000 a year, But unfortunately, that's what the market is. I say, no, we just got to give them what it is. We don't want to give them false expectations. And it's sometimes it's painful. What it was painful. Wasn't it painful when we came to that realization? It wasn't fun, was it?
It was painful, but I did find another one today that has
Okay.
nine units, and it's like half half of what they were asking for in Arlington. Crazy.
Yep. So, all right, let me check the questions one more time, Robert. I know we're going over, and I really appreciate you hanging in there.
Yeah, I think that's most of them. People are having to get off now. It's already getting late. It's on a Monday, so and it's Christmas week.
Yeah, we think we've dropped 10 people already. So I think we're. Yeah. Okay. It looks like we're done with the questions here. Just a lot of thank yous. So Robert, I really appreciate you doing this, man. And if any of you guys are interested, we're building the commercial mastermind, and I believe it's going to get to the point where I can't coach everybody. So I've asked Robert if he could pitch in and help out, and it won't cost you anything. I would split whatever the team split is with Robert to be able to do that if he's willing to do that. And I know there's some individual cases where you may need to work with him directly. We can talk about that too. It just has to be, exchange of value has to be there. It has to be worth Robert's time. But I couldn't think of a better person to do it. I mean, I know Robert personally. We've done lots together, and not just create a training program, but I got to know him through another mastermind group, and learn to know, like, and trust him. So, any final questions before we wrap up, guys? Okay.
I put my email address in there. If you need to shoot me an email or anything, or asking questions, go for it.
Yeah.
If I don't respond right away, I'm in Vegas. So
yeah, type in your email if you don't mind, Robert. I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, I did. It's just creamer@7s.life, which sounds
Okay.
weird. Everybody wants to say .com. Nope. .life.
Did you guys like this when we got to talk about? It wasn't like a formal class, but talk about the nature of things in commercial. We'll get a feel for what it's really like, and where the market may be going, and also what opportunities there are. Like, thanks for the question, Mark Farron, about repurposing properties. Never underestimate the entrepreneurial spirit. We will always find another way, So, okay, you guys take care of yourselves. Have a great rest of the week. There's no more classes or meetings this week. Next week, obviously, we're going to hang low. But if you need anything, call me, text me, email me. If you're stuck on something, don't wait till January 3rd. If there's something that's you need help on, you need to let me know. Okay, guys. All right. Well, Merry Christmas, everyone. God bless you and your families, and I'll see you on January 3rd, unless we happen to talk between now and then. Thanks again, Robert.
All right, buddy. Be good.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.